Test, test, and we're working, so...
Sweet. Sounds good. Test, test. Go ahead.
Get ready to feel the power.
That power. You said it, brother.
That's Colin, Crandall, myself, Adam Roorda here. We are actually coming at you from my house, having a little fun with that. So it's a little different, but we're getting set up in yet another studio, just kind of trying new things out, seeing how things go. You guys are absolutely amazing for always tuning in and checking us out. And Colin is able to see the chat here in a second.
Beautiful.
And there we go. We got people asking what's up. Hey, Wallace Lang and Kim Lata and Hassan Terrell. And it looks like Ryan Woolridge.
Welcome, welcome to all the good people there. Then we got Troy. Who's the last one?
That's Terry Colson.
Terry Colson. Colson Canadian. Wasn't that the good beer? No, that was Molson Canadian. But pretty close. All respect to you, Terry. And as a Canadian Channel A, I'm sure you appreciate some good Molson Canadian. Anyway, continue, Dr. Adam Roorda, or would you like me to take it away from here?
Well, I just want to say this show and every episode is brought to you by Lith Token. Head on over to lithtoken.io and check out everything that's going on. A lot of cool things with NFTs and physical items, actually. Patent pending as of this last week on a true marriage of physical items and digital. So, man, you really want to get in on this. Check it out before the news starts breaking big time.
Absolutely, man. We have the niftiest NFTs that you've ever seen and that you will...
Well, we're not nifty. No, we are Lith Token. So don't get confused and get it backwards.
That's true. It's not lifty. It's not nifty lifty. We have the most lithy token. We have the most lithy token NFTs that you will ever find, and it's amazing, man. Lithium powered, baby, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's not truly lithium powered.
Well, it's got something in there. It's lithium conceptualized and...
Nope, not at all. It's all ESG oriented, so sustainability and ethics. Colin always gets it wrong.
That was going to be my second choice, ESG oriented.
No, that was like your eighth choice.
That was going to be, I've never heard of it, but it's definitely sustainable, man. It's like sustainable fish, man. And when you want to eat good fresh tuna, similar concept, but it's the metaverse's version of sustainable fish, right?
Nope.
It's close. It's something though.
No, you're way off.
I'm way off on it, though. But the good thing is, Dr. Adam Roorda knows what we're talking about when it comes to that stuff, man. So you guys are in the right place. Lith Token rocks, man. You guys definitely want to know about it. As Dana White would say, if you don't know, now you know. Thank you for letting me use that, Dana. Or did he? He wouldn't mind. Anyway, there's our great MMA Power Hour symbol, courtesy of Dr. Adam Roorda. That's our logo, rather, not symbol, same thing, rather, symbol logo. Anyway, we've got an amazing show here. Dr. Adam Roorda won't be able to be on camera here. I know that disappoints a lot of you, but that'll make some of you happy. And some of the
most of them are happy. They don't want to look at my face.
Well, you know, they may be in between. I know you have your fan base for sure. But we'll be here, and we've got three amazing guests. Dr. Adam Roorda running the boards. It's possible if someone asks a question that he might be able to jump in and answer, but for the most part, I'm going to be flying with our three guests today. Dr. Adam Roorda running the boards, representing our team of MMA Power Hour, and we are about 2 minutes away from our first guest. Doc, any thoughts before we jump on there?
No real thoughts other than you guys are absolutely amazing. And Colin, they do actually see me right now. We have
they do. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It's just not the same because I have to actually run the board, so I'm not going to be sitting right next to you.
Understood. Well, we'll make it happen, man. We still have the energy going as we always do. For coming up on 5 years, I think 4 weeks from now will be 5 years from when we did our first episode of the Power Hour. So thank you all for helping to keep us going. We really appreciate it. Tell a friend, and as often as you can be here on a Tuesday night, we appreciate it. And if you can't, watch our videos. Every view helps, and share and everything. So
yeah, all the likes, comments, and shares, you see it going across the screen. It's at MMA Power Hour. So we do have all of our cool graphics that we had for a little while, Colin. They are back. So.
Awesome. That's what we like, man. Looks like the sports ticker and our professional stuff that's all around. That's what people love, and so we're happy to make that happen. And I wish I could see better, and I have good glasses, but I can't. Do you want to read anything? Well, why don't we go to our...
Well, I do want to answer one of the questions popping up.
All right. Should I stand up so I can see? Oh, that makes it easier.
There we go.
That makes it much easier.
Yeah, a lot of stuff about the Hannibal TV, which is awesome. If you're on our social media, head on over to the Hannibal TV on YouTube. Check them out over there. Plenty of viewers. And then AJS just said they see a cat. Yes, you do. You see Liddy Kitty. That is the first true physical NFT sitting right there, and it will be given away here shortly as a charity fundraiser. Plus, it's one of the cool pieces of tech out there. Literally is the first true physical NFT, and that was done in partnership with New Jersey Teamsters. We are putting that out, so keep an eye out with token.io.
It's going to be lit, man, that's for sure. Anyway, Dr. Adam Roorda, whenever you're ready to bring on our first guest.
Well, the awesome thing about this, Colin, is guess what?
He's already there.
Well, no, we get to do our Skype dance again.
Oh, that's right. The Skype dance is back after a month of it not being here. Can't wait.
About 3 months almost.
It was a couple months, so 2 or 3. The Jens Pulver version.
I know.
Hey, Cody, can you hear me?
Hey, brother, you got it?
Yeah, looking good here, and I think we've got video. Excellent. Let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to have this next guest on the show for the very first time. He is a top welterweight boxing contender under contract with PBC, coming off an amazing win. The man is being talked about everywhere. The guy's a superstar in the making. He was formerly known as the Crippler, but now known as the Warrior of Light. Please welcome Mr. Cody Crowley.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited.
My pleasure. You know, Cody, sorry to interrupt you, but I just realized we have the same initials. CC. So I know we had a good connection, man. We both got that CC power, which in numerology is the power of 3. So I don't know if you embrace the number 3, but number 3 and number 9 is supposed to be.
3 resonates a lot with me.
Good, because that's something I've embraced for years. Well, man, I'll tell you, before we start talking, ladies and gentlemen, I got to spend some time hanging out with Cody. This is the coolest, most chill guy that is as tough a guy and as talented a guy in the world of boxing that I've ever met, man. The vibes from Cody are amazing, and we're going to talk about that. Cody, you've got such a unique story, man. Tell us how you got into boxing, and then tell us about some of your early travels and some of the interesting experiences you had, some of the people you train with, and then some of the curves that life threw you with your health and everything that almost made you quit boxing.
Yeah, shoot, that's a loaded question.
Definitely, a lot of them in one.
I don't know where to start. I feel like I could write a book.
Without a doubt.
It's been an awesome journey so far. You know, I got started in boxing when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
You know, I was playing hockey. And
in Canada. Canada.
In Canada. I was playing hockey, you know, from Canada, pretty much born with hockey skates on my feet. So like everybody else, I just went to it, even though I really didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't really have the drive to do it, the determination. I was kind of a little bit, you know, no self-esteem. To say anytime I get the puck, I would shoot it away.
Right.
And I think my dad noticed that. And one summer he signed me up for kickboxing to stay in shape for hockey. And I went in there and instantly, you know, I just fell in love with it because I was putting in the work and I was getting the results for whatever work I put in. And it was giving me that self-confidence. You know, I was starting to lose weight. People were starting to notice me more. They were starting to treat me different. And so I was like, shoot. Let's give this a whirl. And I still remember I signed up for my very first fight, a kickboxing fight, and it was a co-ed, karate and kickboxing, I believe.
Interesting.
Co-ed 13-14, and that bell rang, and there was a girl across the ring.
Oh my goodness!
She picked up her foot and she kicked me across the face. In about 30 seconds, I think the fight was over.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to thank that girl though. Because that day, it lit a fire underneath me.
Nice.
You know, like coming from this kid who already had no self-esteem, who already, you know, was terrified to go back to school that day to tell his, you know, his buddies that he lost his first fight, let alone to a girl. So I made a promise to myself that, you know, I'm going to dedicate my life to becoming a world champion and do what looks like the impossible, because I wasn't born with that natural talent, those natural abilities, and I was very, very scared and timid, and I shied away from that. So I figured, I got 2 fists and a beating heart, and I can prove with no ability you can become one of the greatest on the planet at doing it if you focused hard enough.
Absolutely. So, and I think you found that the team aspect didn't suit you, whereas the individual athlete right away you kind of felt was up your alley, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I was putting in work when I started boxing, and I seen the results I was getting. That just lit this fire underneath me to go and get more. It made me more hungry. So I remember every, hockey practice, I'd be showing up there early just to stretch. I'd be making sure I had my food on time so I could get the best performance out of me possible. And I'd have guys showing up, 5-10 minutes late, not giving it 100% effort, end up losing games, losing championships because the whole team wasn't in sync.
Right.
And that's when I just found out, I got this different type of willpower and desire and fire inside of me that I don't think many other people can keep up with. So that's why I took on this solo journey and this lonely path of the warrior.
Absolutely, because it's
defeat all odds.
Yeah, without a doubt, which you have. And you know what? I really think like some people are more suited to a team effort, because even though you end up being maybe frustrated with your team that's maybe not as good as you are, or that's maybe not making as much of an effort, you also have some other people to blame when you fail. So I think it's kind of like an either or for most people. Some people gravitate to the team, and I think the people that gravitate toward the original sports, like the individual sport, like yourself, I think are really a special type of person, because even though you don't have anyone to blame or frustrate you when things are going wrong, you also have don't have anyone to hold responsible if you lose or if things go really badly. So it's like you said, it's a little bit of a lonely warrior type of position, but I think some unique people like yourself really embrace that.
It really shows you the truth, because you can't hide anything. Right. You can fake all you want, you can talk all the trash you want, but when fight night comes, you show up in that ring and it's all you by yourself.
Yep.
Against the whole world, it feels like sometimes. So it definitely takes a different individual to get in there. Team sports are for some people. Yep. But I feel like there's a lot of lack of communication in that. People just don't know how to communicate. Myself, as a kid growing up, I didn't have those communication skills. Mm-hmm. So it was hard for me to communicate, how I was feeling. And it was easier for me just to go tunnel vision in a solo sport where I can put all this fire and just channel it and try and create something magical.
Absolutely. Did you have much of an amateur boxing career?
Kind of. It was definitely no standout. I had my record is about a 50-50 record. Mm-hmm. I had about 60, I want to say maybe 65 fights. I won a couple Ontario championships, I won a national championship, a couple bronze and silver medals there at nationals, bronze at the Junior Pan Am Games. Mm-hmm. But really, it was a 50-50. I didn't really know what I was doing. I wasn't thinking. I was just going in there, and I was fighting a lot of fear, really, and just trying to will the win out.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have family support at that point, or were they against it, or where did your close family and friends stand?
Huge family support. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I used to wake up when I became this obsessed kid about becoming a world champion. I remember I grew up in the country, and I would go and sleep at my grandparents in town near the city just so I could wake up at 4 a.m., go to the gym, train before school, get dropped off at school. Then my mom would pick me up from school, drive me an hour and a half away to go train in another city to get my boxing in, and then come home at 10 o'clock at night, wake up and do it all again. Long. So I had so much family support. The day I decided I was going to turn professional, and coming where I'm from, lack of resources in Canada, I had to put myself in the best possible environment be successful, and that was Vegas, and they were 100% supportive of that. So, as soon as I graduated school, college wasn't even on my mind. I didn't think about that. It was, I'm going to be a professional fighter. I remember even in high school, I'd be telling my student counselors that, and they just kind of joked about it, trying to get me in classes to get me ready for school. But I knew. And even after that first trip down to Vegas, I moved there 18 years old, no real support. I didn't really have trainer, manager, family, anything like that. I was training a little bit with some local people, but things just weren't really working out. And I was getting my face kind of beat in every day. A kid where boxing isn't really a thing where I'm from. I just jumped in with not really any skill set into the fight mecca, the capital of the world, where the greatest of the greats come just to get work in every day. So I was young, I was hungry, but I didn't really know better, and I kind of bit off more than I could chew.
Right. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So that only lasted about 6 months, and after that, I finally called it quits and went back home. And it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. You leave this small town, you tell everyone you're going to be this big, famous professional fighter. You're going to outwork everybody, all this stuff. And then you fall flat on your face and you come home, so that's when I kind of went through a rough spell. I started, going out and partying and drinking and going down a bad road that just didn't really lead anywhere, for about, a year and a half.
Okay. And that brought you to what age? About 22 or 23 at that point?
That brought me to about 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause, I ended up at the later end of that. It was real bad for a while. I wouldn't get a job or anything. I was just kind of, floating around. I knew I would be, still a fighter, still a world champion, but there was just something I was going through, something I was fighting. And I just need to process it. And, I met a girl one night at a bar, go figure. And, a couple weeks later, she's like, what are you doing with your life? You're not doing anything. Do you work? You got a job? Like, you used to be a fighter. If you still want to pursue that, I'll help you. I'll support you.
Nice.
And I made that commitment right there. I'm going to dedicate 10 years from 21 to 31. I'm going to book a one-way ticket, and I'm not going to do nothing but eat, sleep, breathe boxing.
Nice.
And I did that. I left family, friends. I've missed, good friends' funerals, birthdays, you name it. I've missed everything just to be here and place myself in a position where opportunities would knock, and that's what led into, me getting signed with Top Rank as an amateur right away, signing a 5-year contract, allowing me to be here in the States, to then being recognized by world champions and literally fighting my way in the gyms through dog fights, getting respect from world champions, and then eventually being hired and going all around the world to help get them ready for world title fights.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I wanted to touch on that, but continue your thought.
Yeah. So, and then that kind of, I was getting a lot of recognition for that, and then I realized, shoot, I want to do this on my own. I learned a lot from Floyd, and I was watching, seeing what he was doing with business and stuff, and I knew I had great support system back home in Canada. So I started, promoting fights back home, being a promoter and a fighter, a businessman. Me and my boxing coach, business partner, Ibn Kaysen, my best friend, we went to work together, and we did some pretty amazing things. We brought boxing back to life where it never was in Canada.
Nice. Was that really in Toronto?
Just outside of Toronto, yeah. So we made a big impact there. I was providing a platform for other fighters to come and fight without signing contracts that locks them in with promoters. They had a free platform to come and showcase their skills, no strings attached. So it was great. I was giving back. I was building my own record. I was making connections. I was getting on bigger networks. Our last promotion, we did a deal with UFC Fight Pass with Dana White, showcased my fight on there, and then I realized, I'm ready now. I've learned what I need to learn. I've took the long road, and really learn the ins and outs in the ring and outside the ring and how the boxing game works. And I'm gonna get in the game with some of these big fighters and do my work.
Absolutely.
And you're seeing it now, and now I'm sitting at 20-0. I'm about to announce my biggest fight yet, the biggest arena yet, the biggest network yet.
Right.
Yep. So,
and I know we can't announce that, but we can say the date, correct? We can say the date, or has that been changed?
You know what? I got a big fight coming up in April.
There we go.
I'm gonna be dropping the date soon. I'm gonna be dropping the card. I'm gonna be dropping the opponent. It's gonna be a great showcase for me.
Without a doubt. And also surrounding your fight is going to be some other amazing fights on a card everyone's going to want to see.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I wish I could tell everybody right now, but, gotta wait.
Yeah, coming soon. Well, I know that your last victory was over Kudratio Abdukahirov, and he was ranked higher than you. I believe he was also undefeated. That was a really amazing fight. How much, going into it, you had to know that the results of that fight and a victory would be huge for both of you, probably especially you, since he was ranked higher than you. Did you feel extra pressure going into that fight? Like, you're an honest guy, right?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Does it hit you guys like it does the fans that are sitting here saying, "Oh man, this is so big. This is so important"? What was your thought? Right. How did that hit you? What were you thinking?
Yeah, you know what? No, honestly, I wasn't. I was more excited than ever. I don't know if people can tell. I think they can, but that fight and my fight before, there's just something a little bit more different about me. I'm more relaxed. I'm even more energized. I'm more aware in the ring, and it's just kind of a newer, better version of Cody in there.
Yes, let me bring that up. Let me bring that up really quick. Sorry to step on your words, but I feel like I definitely want to set this up, because I know that you would do it if I didn't, but I don't want to make you guys think that that's not something I know about. So what we're going to talk about here is what the difference was. The man went from the crippler to the warrior of light. The man did some amazing changes, dealt with some amazing challenges, almost quit boxing again, I think, and the story is so interesting. So let us know right before these changes started, and then we'll have you talk about what these changes were. But let us know, even though you had a winning record, your health was poor, your mindset was poor, and it was to the point that you were getting really physically ill. Tell us about what exactly was happening there, and then the amazing projects that you jumped into along with one of your coaches, Lynn Fisher, and just the amazing change and transformation of Cody Crowley.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting ride, brother. It's been pretty hard to describe. But I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the whole journey I've been through and all the illness I've had to overcome, because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. And, doing the hard road that I went, as a kid, not having any of that ability and none of that self-belief, and I didn't really have the teachings or the resources, so all I could rely on was just this hard work ethic.
Right.
And I fine-tuned that tool to the point where I was training 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 days a week for a decade straight, and I was consuming nonstop amounts of caffeine, a whole bunch of health and wellness products that are supposed to be healthy for the body. I was eating, chicken and rice 6 times a day. I had shredded abs, but something happened when I was like around 23, 24, where my body just started talking back to me, and I started not being able to get out of bed. I started having all kinds of stomach problems, bowel problems, all sorts of anxiety, depression. I would have these flare-ups where I'd wake up on fight week being able to run 10 miles like it's nothing on Monday. My coach having to hold me back, telling me not to train so hard. And then, waking up on Thursday or Friday on weigh-in day and have a flare-up from autoimmune and me not be able to move my body.
Wow.
That last fight with Dana White, I still remember My mom came into the room to hug me, kiss me, wish me good luck. And I'm crying because I can hardly stand up.
Oh man!
And I got to go in the ring, and the pressure of going in the ring to perform. You know, I got all these fans and all the family, all my support system. It felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I promised myself I wouldn't fight again until something changed. You know, I spent probably $20,000-$30,000 my own money with doctors trying to test, and they couldn't really figure anything out. Finally, when I got diagnosed with the fatty liver disease and had something physical, tangible to work with, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to look into what created all this. And that was all these artificial colors and sweeteners, and caffeine overloads, and the binge eating after fights, and just jam packing the liver full of the donuts and the ice cream and all sorts of that, and then the burnout, and it was just, that's what killed me basically. So I started cleaning out the nutrition first, and I started feeling great, and then I started getting into meditation and breath work, and I've really started to look back and see who I was as a person, you know, why I was doing what I was doing, why I got into fighting, why I pushed myself so far, why I would out-train anybody, the reasoning behind it, you know, wanting to be accepted, wanting to prove a point. And, you know, that's when I came across my life force coach, Lynn, and his partner, Craig, within Harmony. And they came out with some great holistic healing methods that I started incorporating too, which really started expanding my awareness and the healing on my body. And as soon as my body started feeling better, I was able to transition that into the ring. You know, all of a sudden I had more awareness, and I was listening to my body. When it would tell me if I was tired, I would actually listen to it, even though, you know, most coaches would be like, work, harder, harder, harder.
Right.
I was, you know, honoring my body. My body was telling me something. Because if I kept going with that engine light on, I would end up how I ended up before.
Yeah.
You know? So I started really utilizing those tools, especially the meditation cushion, the brain tap. And that's when I started getting into a lot of visualization of what I'm doing, and going to that space of just total stillness and allowing whatever to show up in the ring. And that's when all the pressure really came off, because, you know, I can't go and force. I've been trying to force my career this whole time, and it just makes it harder and harder. And the second I stopped really caring about, you know, how I looked in the ring, what the people thought of me, what the judges thought of me, and just showed up happy, showed up Cody Crowley, you know, the person, not the fighter. All of a sudden things just started going better for me. And you've seen that in my last two fights.
Absolutely.
It's, I'm coming in the ring with a lot more tools, and it's even transitioning out to my team. You know, me being able to have a better understanding of myself and my energy is allowing, you know, me and my coach to have a better relationship, a better understanding, a better trust level between trust and communication as far as what we're doing in the ring. So the ripple effect has just been amazing. Me and my coach, we really don't have to speak anymore. You know, he's in the ring with me, and I'm sitting in that corner with him at the same time.
You just have that connection and that understanding of what you're doing and what you need, and they can kind of feel what they should give to you. And yeah, it just seems like you're on that great plane. And physiologically, I think that's a word that people don't use too much, and I think professional athletes get it, although some don't. But professional athletes get it a lot more than the average guy and girl, which is that there really is a mind-body connection. And if 100%. You're right, and if you're in one state with your body, let's say a really positive state with your body, but your mind is in a really negative state, you're still not going to be doing well, and you may not even be feeling well, even though you have a really healthy and fit body. So having the connection, the mind and body connection, is really huge, and especially with a sport like boxing. I mean, I know boxing from having watched it for many years. I'm more of an MMA guy now, hence the MMA Power Hour. But I do know that that both are really involving the mind, and I know in MMA, fighters usually say it may even be like 90% mind and maybe 10% body. Do you think the same in boxing, or would you use a different percentage?
I would even say it's a little bit more.
Wow. Yeah.
I believe they're 100% one.
Right, together, right?
Yeah, 100% one. My belief goes pretty deep on that. And that's another reason why I'm actually still fighting. When I started healing myself and I started to become more aware of the reason why I was sick, I was treating my body as if it was a machine. That's what us fighters do.
Right.
We put that sword in the fire every day and we bang it. We sharpen it up and we pull it out, and then we put it back in, day out. And I started seeing that the human body is an organism. It's not a machine.
Right.
So it requires proper rest. It requires to be in harmony. And it's a self-sufficient machine. It will heal properly if it's in the right environment. You grew your own arm, you grew your own body. If you get a paper cut right now on your finger, what's going to happen? You wake up tomorrow and it's slightly healed. Right. So the body only starts creating disease when it's out of harmony. When it's in dis-ease, creates disease. Yeah. So when I really started getting into that and seeing all these other fighters, what they're going through, and just like me, fighters in their 20s that are taxing out, that are gassing out, that are having health issues that they really can't put their fingers on.
They're just burning out, right?
Yeah, they're just burning out. And it's really inspired me to, now that boxing isn't really a job, it's not something that like, I got to go accomplish this. It's, I can do it for fun because I'm good at it.
Right.
But me as a person, Cody, I can also use it as a platform and be a walking billboard for health and wellness, and to help some of these other fighters that are dealing with physical along with mental issues.
Absolutely.
All combat sports, that's the concussions, the traumas, it's one of the biggest things. We always get the glamour and the glitz
right
in your prime when you're healthy. Right. And then when you give yourself, it's an exchange. You're giving your health for that, right? For that win. These people end up retiring and not being able to enjoy life to the fullest. Right. And I just don't think it's fair.
No. No, it's not. It's not a good situation. Sorry to step on your words, but I want to let you know we've got about 6 minutes left. I know you have other obligations, but in the last 6 minutes, I want to get a lot more information from you. But I just wanted to give you that time constraint, so that how much we can work with. So let me jump on the fact that you went from the crippler to the warrior of light. Obviously, that was probably right. That probably came somewhere around the short time maybe after you had been into the mind and body harmony and working with Lynn and doing the breathing and using the meditation chair, which is an amazing thing. And what came to your mind that made you want to push the crippler away and bring in the warrior of light?
Well, that crippler, it was attached to an identity and an ego of just this savage, this guy who wouldn't care about anything, who would just wasn't a nice person. All he wanted to do was just grind and grind people into the ground. And when I was going through my own little journey, healing journey and self-discovery, I realized I really wasn't a fighter. That was just something I was doing to kind of like hurt myself, to kind of
dull the pain or something.
Dull the internal pain that stemmed from childhood and different traumas that happened throughout life. And that was what I used at the time. That was the only vehicle I had to channel that type of energy. So when I went through my change and I started seeing myself differently, when I would go back into the boxing gym, it was very triggering, because, you know, all those old memories of who I am and what I would do to my body, they would come right back, and they would kind of haunt me. And that's when I really was honest with myself, and you're like, you know what, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. Boxing's just something I do for fun, and it's a tool that I've sharpened, and an ability that I've learned to harness my focus and awareness, to be able to go in the ring and outskill and outwork any opponent in front of me. But at the end of the day, I'm human too.
I like that. And so, as the warrior of light, that would imply that when you go in the ring, no longer are you really wanting to hurt someone badly, or just like a killer be killed. You know, thought your fighting skill is still amazing in your style, and you know you have to be tenacious, and you got to be good, and you know you need to keep winning to keep your career and to keep, you know. But can you go into such a tough sport as boxing? And I know we've got only about 3 minutes left. Can you go into it and still have love in your heart for your opponent, and still be willing to go out with them for a drink afterward, no matter what? Can you do that, or is that tough sometimes?
I think a lot of people can't do it, because they're having a battle with themselves. You see people at the weigh-ins all the time talking trash, smacking, pushing each other, trying to intimidate each other, trying to cause that fear. My mindset now, I'm like, you know, we show up at weigh-ins, I'm like, thank you for showing up. I hope you get the greatest and best sleep of your life tomorrow, because I want the greatest possible version of yourself to show up tomorrow. Because if you don't, I'm not going to be able to pull out the best version of myself.
Right.
I want to be put in positions where I don't possibly think I can even get out of, and that I've never even trained for. That's what we're doing in there. We're drawing, we're creating art, we're painting a picture, and each of us in there are learning. You have two warriors in there at battle, learning about themselves, learning about how they feel when they can't move their legs or they can't move their arms, and they have another person in front of them trying to hurt them. You know, where are you going to go to? What are you going to do? What kind of tools are you going to pull out of your toolbox to get you out of those situations? So it becomes a game of chess, a game of intelligence, and you get to actually go and teach your opponent something. They walk out of that ring learning way more about themselves than when they went in there. And that's what I try to do with every single one of my opponents, is to take them into deepest waters that they've never been in before, because that's just what I survive in environments that usually destroy most people. That's just what I train to do.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure every fighter that I've been in the ring with, you could have an interview with them now, and they can tell you that, you know, that's some of the deepest waters they've ever tread, and that's the closest they've been to drowning.
I bet. Yep, absolutely true. But you're there with love in your heart in a boxing match at a high
100%.
level, which is amazing. In the last 1 minute we have you, man, let us know where people can support you, if you're available for coaching now, what your team name is, or if people want to seek out the meditation chair or Lynn or whatever you want. But we only have about a minute, so let us know, though, all that good stuff, man, 'cause it's amazing. I'm a believer, and love to have you throw that out there.
Yeah. You know what? Guys can pretty much follow all my stuff on social media, Cody Crowley Boxing. Super simple. And as far as the team and teaching, you know, get in with the cushion. Start with something simple that kind of teaches you how to heal and how to look at yourself. Go over to In Harmony. You know, contact me, contact Craig, contact Lynn. And we can get you set up with a device, a tool that will definitely help you on your journey, on your recovery, in all areas of life.
Absolutely. There's IamInHarmony.com, I believe, is one of the best places to find that. It's amazing, man. Your team is amazing. I can't wait to see you fight on the 20th, man. You have the best attitude of a professional athlete that I've met in person that I've probably ever seen, man. And so I'm with you, man. I support you 100%. When you have a chance, man, after the next fight or whatever, I'd love to have you back and talk more about it, so we can let people know even more about, you know, what your thoughts are and how you could possibly help be a role model for other fighters.
Definitely. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure.
Yeah, after my fight, let's talk about the win. Let's break it down and go deeper.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, and all success in the world to you, brother. I know you have it in you. Keep up the great work. Cody Crowley, professional welterweight contender with PBC. Big fight coming up in April. Thanks so much again, brother. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, brother. Take care. Have a good night.
You too. Peace. All right, Dr. Adam Roorda, really good guy. Cody Crowley, amazing fighter. So many rounds he trained with Floyd and other people. A lot of the top fighters were bringing him in there as a young guy, not to really help promote his career, but for him to help their career as a sparring partner. And fortunately, with his determination and tenacity, he didn't get lost in that. He said, if these top guys are bringing me in and I'm holding my own, I got a career. I can be a contender. And, you know, a lot of guys just don't do that, and they get kind of lost in the shuffle. And so I'd like to see that a guy that was essentially brought in to be a sparring partner said, no, if I'm holding my own this good, consider me a contender. I'm looking for fights. I'm looking for representation. And he got it. And he's top 10 in most of the ratings, in most of the rankings. I think I even saw as high as number 6.
This next fight is going to be a big deal, a huge deal for him. So everybody tune in, watch it. If he wins, he's probably got a title fight coming up next. Kind of surprised this next one isn't. But we do have an incoming call here. Ready to go, actually. So let's just bring him in.
Let's do it. Matthew Granahan, can you hear me, brother?
Hey, yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we hear you, we see you. Let me give you a proper introduction. You look great as always, brother. I hate when people close to my age come in here looking this much better than me, but if it's you, I'm okay with it. You're a good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Granahan is an amazing dude. The guy's been an MMA fighter, a pro wrestler. He wrestled back in the day, collegiate wrestling. He's been a commentator, an analyst. He wrote the book Rough and Tumble with Eric Paulson, the Viking, with the an introduction by Gene LaBelle. If there is something to know about combat sports and pro wrestling, this man here knows about it. Mr. Matthew, King of Connecticut, aka the King Granahan. Welcome back. Great to see you, brother.
Hey, thank you, Colin. Am I coming in loud and clear?
You are. You're looking good, man. I know you're frequently in different places. I know you're originally from Connecticut, but spend your time there in South Carolina, as you call South Kakalaki. But you get around. Sometimes you're in Florida. Sometimes you're in Las Vegas, and sometimes you're in North Carolina. Is it a secret, or where are you now? You in a home base in South Carolina or somewhere else?
No, I'm actually traveling right now, and I'm in the beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia.
Nice. Beautiful, beautiful state, Georgia. It's awesome. So a lot of stuff going on, man. What is kind of most interesting, other than the addition and video update to the Rough and Tumble book that you did with Eric Paulson? In fact, before we get on to the other stuff, that book was written by you and Eric with an intro by Gene LaBelle and a lot of amazing contributors about 11-12 years ago. But you guys did like a video update, or was it a written update? Tell us what the update to that Rough and Tumble book was, and where we can find that.
Sure, Colin. That, interestingly enough, kind of is a part of this story with the Nature Boy Ric Flair, which I'll get to. Eric contacted me around the holidays, just before the holidays, just before Thanksgiving, and he said, let's do something cool with this book. We kind of brainstormed, and I flew out to Combat Submission Wrestling, the headquarters in Fullerton, California. Flew out there to John Wayne Airport, had a great time with Eric. We got in the ring at CSW, Combat Submission Wrestling, and we put together something really cool for the fans. It was an addendum to the book, sort of getting people caught up, a lot of behind-the-scenes stories on the book, a lot of additional supplemental history, and we gave that as a gift to the fans for Christmas. And then an additional gift, which we've extended, you can get a book and T-shirt deal, and that deal's been going really well. So I urge people to get it before we run out of copies. We're almost completely out of copies from our second print here of the book, and the only place to go to get it is erikpaulson.com. Don't go to Amazon, because people buy the book and then they jack the price up. But man, it's just so much great history in that book.
Absolutely. And the unique thing about Erik the Viking Paulson, creator of CSW and former Shuto champion, one of the most experienced coaches out there, is that he not only has a background in catch wrestling with Gene LaBelle and other people, but then he also was a BJJ black belt under the Machado brothers. So
the Machados.
Yeah, so
yep,
I mean,
that's right.
He knows so much stuff. I mean, like, for those of you watching that train jiu-jitsu, look up this book, which is amazing, or if you want to look up some videos Erik Paulson puts out, you can always find some submissions that your jiu-jitsu brothers are going to say, what the hell was that, when you put it on them in their next class. So it's really a great variety of things, and the book is amazing. So how did this lead into the situation with Ric Flair? Everyone knows Ric Flair. I guess if you lived under a rock, or if you're under 21 years old, maybe you don't know Ric Flair, but the Nature Boy was the other than Hulk Hogan, he was the shiningest of shining lights and famous personalities in the 80s and the 90s, and even the early part of this century. The Nature Boy with his woo yell.
That was a good one.
Yep, thank you. And the platinum blonde hair, styling and profiling, Space Mountain with the limousines, the girls, everything, So he's been around for many years, and you've known him for quite a while. He's based, I think, over in North Carolina, not far from you. And but some kind of insanity went on where he and his wife got a little bit crazy, and they got mad at the king, and they're trying to blame you for their divorce, or they're blaming each other, and he's blaming you, but she's not blaming you. What happened with that, and what's going on, as much as you can tell? Because the Ric Flair apparently is a love and hate relationship with you. He loves you before, and now he hates you. Who the hell knows what's going on? But I'd like to know, and I think our audience would as well.
Sure, and let me just say, first of all, Ric Flair, I love you, man. I wish you and Wendy nothing but the best. And we all have, we've all get a little angry at times. But I'll give you just a quick summarized version of what happened. I've known Ric Flair, as you said, for many years. I knew him originally from Dockside Bar on Lake Murray, when he had his boat there, and I had a house in Irmo, South Carolina, near Lake Murray. And he was married to wife, I believe, number 4 at that time. Wendy, who was a bit snotty and haughty. She was a personal trainer, and Rick was often there at the bar tossing them back. And with myself at times, I bounced at that bar in my younger days. And over the years, Lake Lanier, we had a great time. I brought beautiful Gloria Saldana, not to be confused with my gorgeous Venezuelan goddess Gloria Diferente. This was about 2016, out to Lake Lanier, when Rick had his boats out there. And Rick was all over, man. He was like, "Oh, you're so exotic. You're so exotic." And she says, "This guy's kind of making me uncomfortable." And I said, "Honey, that's Ric Flair. That's
the Nature
Ric
Boy."
Flair."
Yeah.
So Colin, I need to say this. Rick and I are a lot alike in many ways, except for one way. I learned this, I remember my uncle telling me this when I was a teenager, and it's a great quote, and it's, if your wife leaves you for another man, the best revenge you can get on that other man is to let him keep her.
I love it.
I gotta keep I got to keep this moving because it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
So fast forward to last year, I had Ric Flair's number for years, and I lost a lot of numbers when the screen went out on my old phone. So I got his number back from Bill Hazelwood, who just interviewed me, veteran MMA and wrestling ring announcer and personality throughout the Southeast, mainly in the Carolinas, and called Rick. And I wanted to get him on the Berman Team podcast because I work for Berman Law Group out of Boca Raton, Florida. I'm a marketing coordinator and also media host. I host our Berman Team podcast down there, and we wanted to get Rick on. So anybody have any personal injury issues, go to king.of.Connecticut on Instagram, or you can hit me up on my Matthew J. Granahan Facebook. Any personal injury issues, I can assist you there. But we wanted to get Rick in for our podcast. So Rick and I started talking, and make a long story short, he said, hey, you got any pictures? Whatever happened to that beautiful, exotic Mexican lady? And I said, she was Mexican Lebanese. And I said, Rick, she kind of moved on. She lives actually out there in Southern California, you guys. But I said, I got another beauty in my stable from Venezuela. And he said, well, send some pictures to the nature boy. Because I'd kind of sent him pics and videos of the ladies in the past.
Right.
So,
you wanted pictures.
So I did, and he loved it. He even said in one of his texts, "You're the man." That's a big endorsement from Ric Flair. You're the man.
Absolutely.
And so, what got him in some trouble was there's a beautiful Dominican woman that I met at the airports when I was on my way to see Eric out in California. She saw the hair, she saw the style, she saw the profile, and she would send me some very nice videos. Shall we say, pleasing herself. And I sent him over to the nature boy, and he loved them. He says, send me more, babe. He said, send me more, big man. And so we get to that was in that afternoon, December 15th, which I had time stamped on the Hannibal TV commentaries about this. And then that evening, about 6:30, I get a text, Matt, kill yourself. You never called Wendy. And those girls you're sending me pictures and video of, they just don't stack up to Wendy, Matt. Dare to dream. And I should preface that earlier in that afternoon, Rick called me and I was really busy. I was preoccupied, and he was wanting me to call Wendy and say, tell her, you know how you meant to send those. She's probably standing right there next to her. You know how you meant to send those pictures to another friend, right?
Right.
So apparently she looked on his phone. Like, you're Ric Flair, right? You're Ric Flair. And let's do a little role playing, Colin.
Yeah.
This is how King would have handled the situation. And I'll do it as Ric Flair, right?
Yes.
So, Colin, you're Wendy in this case. Let's do a little role playing. You're Wendy in this case, and you see the picture. What do you say? You see the videos, the sauciness.
Oh, man. I guess if I'm Wendy and I see the video, what the fuck is this? Rick, what the fuck is this guy sending you?
So, hey, honey, Wendy. That's video number 5 I got from my fans today of their women.
Love it.
They're all throwing their women at me because I'm the nature boy.
Love it. Love it.
And you know, Wendy, every morning when you wake up, you ought to hit your knees and look up to the sky and thank God you're with Ric Flair because they all want me. Woo!
That would have been the way to play it off.
That's how a man handles this business.
That's
how a man handles this business.
Absolutely. He didn't do that, though, I think.
No, but he and I kind of made up, and after that, and
but how about him and Wendy? I guess they're all through, though, right?
So what happened was he and I made up. This is December 15th. We kind of made up like in a week or so. We sent some funny stuff. Rick sent a picture of himself, and then he videoed a girl's butt he was with that was shaking her butt and sticking her tongue out for me to show me that he still got it. And he messaged me, said, I'm still the man. And so, we kind of got over that. And then it hit the news that he and Wendy had needed time apart and were parting ways. And now I don't get involved in anybody's personal business, but Rick made it a point to put that out there. So Hannibal and I decided to have a little fun with it. And we did the first video where we showed the story that I just told you, how it unfolded. And then didn't think much of it. And then, ironically, later that day, the day before, I decided to send a message to Wendy because she's single and ready to mingle. I spend a lot of time in Florida now, and I was in the Daytona area. She was in Rosemary Beach. And I just sent her a picture, a little selfie in the pool, looking as only I can look. And she sent me back a message. Oh, she says, and after seeing you, I need to get out in the sun. I need to get a better tan. We're flirting back and forth, you know, and I was going to go for mimosas with her that Sunday. Well, later that afternoon, I get a message from Rick, and you got to follow this. He sends me the picture that I had sent to Wendy, and he says, I didn't send it to him. Picture I had sent to Wendy. He sends it to me, and then you all can listen to the Hannibal TV commentaries on this. And he writes, why didn't you send a picture of your little prick? And he says, I'm going to find out where you live now, Matt. And he says there will be consequences.
Oh my goodness.
So I decided to have some more fun with it because I actually sent him back. I said, Rick, so relax, man. I said something to the effect of don't worry, Wendy. She's a sweet woman. She's a wonderful woman, but she's 2 cup sizes too small, and she's 40 years too old for the king. And he sent back, you know, fuck you, and that's all covered in the Hannibal commentary. They're having some fun with the nature boy, and then a few days later he calls me from a private number, and he says stay out of Rosemary. Rosemary's Rosemary Beach. He's not there, and she's there, and he goes. I hear you send one more message to Wendy. There will be consequences.
Oh man!
I'll find out where you live. And I just apologized. I said, Rick, man, don't worry. I said, I got so much going on. I have no plans on going there. And I apologized. He said, well, just leave it there. So some fun. So just been having some fun with this.
Oh, yeah.
With the Hannibal. I wish Rick and Wendy nothing but the best, you know. But hey, he's a personality. He's in the public eye. I'm not one of these cancel culture guys. I'm not offended that Ric Flair threatened me at all. But as a matter of fact, though, I have an offer for Rick. For any promoter that wants to pick this up, how to promoter that hit up Bill Hazelwood today about this, I will give Rick my chest. I will give Rick my body, just like Wendy wishes I'd give her my body. And I will allow him 12 chops, 12 of his famous, a dozen of his famous chops unanswered in any ring in the United States of America so that we can put this to bed. He can get his closure. Not a match. He's 72 years old. I'll give him my chest. A dozen chops. We can call it Rick's Revenge.
I love it. I love it. That could be good, man, because we have some people that believe that that he just you didn't do anything wrong. But neither did he, and he just got mad at the wrong guy. Then there's one guy here that thought that maybe you were backstabbing Rick to go after Wendy, but I don't think that was really the case. I think that, you know, you sent him pictures, and then when she contacted you, she liked your tan, and so I don't think that there's no legit anything that you were doing, I think, to mess up their marriage, was there?
No, I mean, on my end, you know, I take it with a grain of salt. It's all in fun. But Rick is legitimately angry at me. And I just did Kevin Sullivan's podcast about just before this happened. And he was the booker in WCW with Rick was there. And what we were talking about is, you know, the legit promos, the legit anger, the legit heat And guys like Scott Steiner had with Ric Flair, guys like Shane Douglas had with Ric Flair. Ric Flair has that legitimate heat.
Yes.
Ric Flair had that legitimate heat with Eric Bischoff. He hated Eric, and he hates me. He hates me just as much as he did, dare I say, Eric Bischoff years ago.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to give him my chest, give him a chest to chop 12. I think that'd be very entertaining for the fans.
I think that could be cool. Now, is there any chance that if he took you up on that and he gave you those chops, you'd be mad enough that you'd put him in your patented figure 4 leg lock?
Well, I'll tell you, Rick. I stole your woman. I stole your hold. And if you still had it, I'd steal your gold.
I love it. That's it. The king of Connecticut. You tell it like it is, man. I'll tell you, it's an interesting situation. We'll have to see how that plays out. But definitely Rick has to be aware that you're like the young Ric Flair compared to him right now. And he can't, what do they say? Don't hate the player, just hate the game,
Or to put it another way, Colin.
Yeah.
Colin, to put it another way, in Ric Flair's own words, whether you like it or you don't like it, learn to live with it.
I like it. Exactly. Well, I tell you, King, so much else going on. The book is amazing with Eric Paulson, everything you've got going and working with the Berman Group, and I know you're talking to some of the guys with the mobs. We have our mutual friend Larry Mazza, really amazing guy, and Gunnar Lindblom. I like those guys. I'm doing a little MMA segment for the game plan. My boy in Detroit. Really good guys. Every time I get on that show, Larry Mazza's hair is looking better than mine, and every time you get on my show, your hair is looking better than mine. I thought I had good hair. Now I'm starting to wonder. I don't know what it is.
You have great hair, and you're so youthful, Colin. You're youthful, well beyond your years.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, they're great guys, and I'm glad that I was able to set you up with Gunnar.
Yes.
And Larry, because I think you're perfect for their show regarding the fight predictions.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know Larry does the college football handicapping. Who knew that he's been handicapping college football for like 30 years or more? And he does that. And then I come on and do the MMA roundup in UFC. So I tell you what, I know I didn't ask you about any specific UFC fights coming up, but since we have a few more minutes, maybe go about 5 more minutes. Let me ask your thoughts. The UFC is having problems with their better fighters wanting more money. I know that a lot of fans can make their own conclusions based on what they see the payout is. We don't know what some of these champions are getting as far as pay-per-view points. We really don't. Apparently that doesn't have to be released, and it never is. We also don't know if there's any locker room bonuses or this or that or whatever. But one thing we do know is that it is true that a handful of boxers are making $5 million plus. Probably a large handful, 2 large handfuls of boxers are making $5 million plus per fight, and several are making $10 million plus. We know that very few UFC fighters are making that. Jake Paul is making this money. He's arguing with Dana White in the UFC. Can the UFC keep doing what they're doing, but just randomly pay by 100% or 200%? Could they do that if they wanted to, or is there some merit, you think, that if they did that, then they wouldn't be making any profit?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a totally different world. I should let your fans know. Now, I managed fighters during the Zuffa era.
Right.
I managed Kamal Shalarus is a great example. And I talked on, and this is antiquated information. They're making, those fighters in UFC are making a whole lot more than they used to. Let me tell you that, Colin, a lot more. They used to have another job, okay, and they're making a lot more money than they used to. I understand that they're complaining because it's a total. I'm so ignorant about it. When Endeavor purchased the company. I go back to the days just to give kind of I did this on Gunner's show just to give you kind of an example of how it was back in the day when Kamal first came from WEC into the UFC. he was on a very low, it was, I don't recall the exact numbers. It was maybe an 8-8-12 or something in that range, 3 fights a year. And they took so much of our sponsor money. We got a lot of sponsor money when we were in WEC. And it actually exceeded the pay what they took from the sponsor money. It's a totally different world now. The Reebok deal came in, sponsors aren't thinking.
And then Venom,
all my information on that, Colin, is so ignorant, antiquated. I would hate to weigh in. The only thing that I will say with the utmost confidence is that the fighters today are making astronomically more than they were when I was involved with Zuffa and the UFC.
Right, and will there be a point then? So this is a question more in your wheelhouse, and I appreciate you admitting it because I know you are more of an expert in the golden era as far as being in the inside, working for Bellator and the Zuffa and like that. Will there be a time ever or in the next 10, 20 years where we will see parity between the UFC champions and boxing champions? Do you think?
No, No, Colin. I don't think so at all. And I'm going to tell you why. From what I understand, and I don't have an inside track on what I understand with people that are involved in it, the current UFC got a huge chunk of money for their TV deal, for their broadcast deal, with I believe was with
ESPN.
Is it ESPN that airs it now with ESPN?
Yeah.
They got and it's no longer about the name fighter. And I think what Endeavor wants to do, and I may be wrong on this because again I'm not involved inside on it. What Endeavor wants to do is just have it be the UFC brand and not specific fighters. And I don't think that they're as concerned at all like they used to be about pay-per-view numbers. And from what I'm being told, they're not getting anywhere near the pay-per-view numbers they used to. Not a lot of people are watching it, but they don't care. They have a totally different business model. So I don't think that it's ever going to be at the level of the boxing because there is a different business model in boxing.
And that makes sense. I appreciate that. We got about 5 minutes left, math, give or take. But I had one guy make a comment that I shouldn't take it the wrong way, but I look like a more handsome and young Doug Benson. Now, is that bad? Because I know I feel almost like is Doug Benson someone like Danny DeVito or Ernest Borgnine or someone like that? Is that bad?
I'm trying to think who that is. I'm trying to think, who is Doug Benson?
I don't know who that is. I think Adam is going to try to find out. No offense, but let me see. A younger and more handsome Doug Benson. Okay, that's not so bad because that's a pretty handsome guy there. I'll take it.
I'll tell you, it's
a comedian.
Because
he's a comedian. I love it.
It's funny because I was told during the salt and pepper days before the top of my hair turned gray.
Right.
I was told by a lot of people that I looked like Paulie Walnuts. I had the old Polly Walnuts reference, and a few ladies would ask me with the hair. If I was, what was the guy? They asked me if I was the guy's dad from Jersey Shore, whoever the heck that guy was. I can't remember. A DJ Paulie or whatever from Jersey Shore with the hairstyle and the other one that a lot of my friends, my Cosa Nostra friends, have always told me because of the hair and the dark features that I should have played John Gotti instead of John Travolta because Travolta looks nothing like Gotti.
I agree. You would have been amazing, man. Do you know, once in a while, some people still are walking down the street don't know who John Gotti is. In fact, I will bet you, I think more men are familiar with him. A lot of women don't, believe it or not, seem like they don't know who John Gotti is. But, I'm sure he had enough of his girlfriends and wives, so he didn't care about that.
And I'll tell you, Colin, ironically, if Gotti had done it the right way, nobody would have known who he was, and he would have sailed off into the sunset with millions, which is what you're supposed to do in that life instead of want to be the big star.
Exactly. Yep. Instead, he was a Teflon Don. Because I know that we're trying to see if one of his grandsons will fight Bullet Bob Carson. I would still love to see that happen.
Bill Baroni.
What?
Phil Baroni, I did the press conference with John Elite in Jersey, and Bob covered that. Actually, we're trying to get him to fight Phil Baroni because Phil was involved with John Elite and with the Gambino family, and we won't get too much into that because Phil is down in Mexico now, and I'm supposed to go down there the end of March, the end of next month. Got the passport, and I'm going to be going down there and spending a week with the NYBA, with the New York Badass. Who knows what kind of trouble we're going to get into down there.
That's it. But one thing I know you can say is you're never full of baloney when you're hanging out with Phil Baroni. So
that's right.
You got that going. Matthew Granahan.
Right. Hopefully we don't end up in a Mexican prison down there.
I hope not. I hope I don't get a call from you that says this is a collect call from a Mexican prison. I would be like, Matthew, you didn't. You didn't. But yeah, stay safe over there, Matthew. I know you will. Really appreciate you coming on. Where can people follow you on social media to stay up with what you're doing?
Matthew J. Granahan on Facebook. I'm old school. I'm a Facebooker. I've got the 5,000 friend limit, but they can follow me. And then king.of.connecticut spelled out. And they have to request to follow me because I keep that Instagram private. And I know you got a busy show, so I just want to tell your guests, they may not have heard this joke. What's 240 pounds, dashingly handsome, and disappears in an instant?
I love it. Let's see the answer. And that is it, Matthew the King Granahan. And it worked this time. Matthew, it worked. Adam, you can remove it. Thank you. One of the funniest moments, and I know this is what what Adam is laughing at, is 4 years ago when Matthew did that, the screen froze and he's still right there on the screen.
So
and,
he didn't.
And we didn't know the answer. We were saying, "What? Well, what's the answer, Matthew?" And then I think his buddy Jeff, or someone, I forget who the guy who he brought on, a really cool dude who was a DJ and a wrestler. And I was like, "What's the answer there, brother?" And he's like, "I don't know what the hell he's doing." And then he tried it again, and the screen froze again. And then we finally realized what it was, but it worked. I love it, man. The man is getting better with age, just like all of us lucky guys are.
He's getting wiser with tech.
Yes, he is. He is getting better with his tech. So anyway, we got a few minutes here. Dr. Adam Roorda, about 8 minutes before our next guest call time. Should I look at some of these cool comments here? Do you want you and me to maybe answer or reply to comments?
Oh, well, we've got somebody here dropping a note. It's Run DMG. 101-214. No boxing takes talent. UFC fighters are other sports rejects. I have to disagree with that.
Well, he's a big boxing fan. I can respect that. There is still less crossover, I think, than people think between boxing and MMA. A lot of boxing purists just could never get an MMA. They don't like the ground fighting. They don't understand it. They don't want to understand it, or maybe they understand it, but they still don't like it. And so it's, I mean, in reality, I would agree with you, Adam, and disagree with Run DMJ. It's not other sports rejects, It's a great sport in of itself. I think that...
I mean, I would maybe go as far as saying it's a lot of life's rejects that found a way out of being a reject. I think there's a common story there. A lot of people that were troublemakers previously and doing stupid things, and they found their way out. But boxing has a similar story for most boxers. It's the one way out. It's a one-way ticket out of bad situations.
Right. It's a similar situation, with the mindset of both athletes. Mm-hmm. I think that what the reality is, and I'm far be it from me to say what the reality is for everyone. It's only my reality, my perception. But my perception of reality, having watched boxing ever since I was a little kid, and then having watched MMA ever since before the first UFC, I was familiar with it with some people that I knew training with the Gracies. This is what I would say. For boxing to be a superstar, you got to have a really good chin, good reflexes, speed, really good technique, and power. And it's basically all about movement. Your feet are important, but upper body movement and really good hands. And I think that the amount of people that are really good at just that skill set are fewer then can actually be really good MMA fighters too. And I'm not saying it makes boxing better, but what I'm saying is in boxing, you really know if you have the speed, the power, the upper body movement, the chin, the attitude, the strength of mind and determination to be the best at that. In MMA, it kind of has various different options. You can be that guy that maybe really doesn't have the best chin, but your wrestling is so good that people don't get to test your chin. Or like you have a style like Habib, you've got a pretty good chin, but your wrestling is so much better than everyone else's, and your ground control and submissions, are so good. And flip side of that, you can have someone that can come in and be really good, like Sean Strickland is looking at like a guy with some of the better hands in the bigger UFC fighters, and he just basically, guys can't take him down because his wrestling defense is good, and like Izzy, actually, even probably Izzy, obviously above Sean Strickland, being that Izzy, is Israel Adesanya is the champion. But what I'm saying is that there's a great variety of skill sets that different champions have. Like Israel Adesanya's skill set is very different from Habib's skill set, but they're both amazing fighters. And so I think MMA with the different skill sets does allow people from various different backgrounds in sports to be really good and possibly be a champion. And I tell you what, though, it's definitely rigorous training. I've known people that have trained boxing, and you're not taking nearly as much shots to the head, so concussions perhaps would be less, but the wear and tear on the body, the wrestling training and the grappling and the jiu-jitsu and trying to put on pads and simulate elbows and knees and other stuff like that, and submission holds. A lot of people in boxing have admitted that the MMA training is really, really grueling, and there's so many skill sets in the world of MMA that it isn't just like every boxer can go in there and beat someone in an MMA fight. That's why you almost never see it happen. So no disrespect at all to boxing. It's a legendary sport that's been around for hundreds of years. Big respect for that, but then also in MMA. So people may have their
MMA in a lot of ways has been around longer, but not as a sport.
Yeah, so he's mentioning Colby Covington as a clout chaser. This guy, Dave, that very well could be. Colby Covington's a unique dude, very polarizing. And now that's not the first guess. We're not talking Cody Crowley, but Colby Covington is a unique, crazy guy in the world of MMA. Let's see what
I would say. He's a beast. He's definitely a clout chaser in a lot of ways, but man, he can hold his own with most people.
Yeah, without a doubt. 2 fights with Usman, he did better in the second one. And then internet ruined entertainment. Wrestling, McMahon, WWE. Bobby Heenan said in a shoot interview, wrestling is done. Interesting, I did not know that. 3 Knives. The late great Bobby Heenan said in 2002, wrestling is done. And sadly enough, shortly thereafter, it's pretty much been kind of done.
Dwindling.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
so that's why he was the brain, Bobby.
The WWE franchise is making tons of money in entertainment, though.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another thing.
Maybe they didn't.
Right. So
in my opinion, it's about the money.
Yeah, that's a good point. So here's what I'd like you to answer, Adam, and then we're going to get ready for our guest. Run DMG just made another statement. Any great wrestler could, and he's probably got to mean amateur wrestler, because if you mean pro wrestler, you're joking. So if he does mean amateur wrestler, like standout gold medalist or medalist in Greco or freestyle wrestling, any of them could dominate MMA? I don't think that's true. Do you, Adam?
I don't think any of them, but I think a majority, it definitely can.
The wrestlers at the highest level of amateur wrestling, it does give them a really good base, because the wrestling base in MMA is very important. But to say any of them could dominate MMA, and if we're talking pro wrestling, then clearly that's not the truth. Although there are some very tough guys in pro wrestling. Anyway, I think...
And he's going on and talking about wrestling have the highest cable ratings. Well, I mean, cable's dying anyways.
There you go, exactly.
It's all going to digital.
Exactly.
Man.
Well, Run DMG, we appreciate you, and 3 Knives, and all these other good guys here. Zena, the paid programming, we appreciate that a lot, with a great comparison to Benson, what's his name there, whatever it was. Appreciate that. Dr. Adam Roorda, whenever we're ready, why don't we do the Skype dance?
All right, let's get her rolling.
Run DMG did mean amateur wrestling. That's good.
Skype dance. Nope.
Hello, Vanessa.
Hola.
Hello, Vanessa. Can you hear me? Vanessa, beautiful.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn my camera sideways.
Are you? Let me ask my producer. Doesn't matter? He said that's fine. All right. And I don't know that you'll be able to see us. I think in this setup, it really varies from the transmission, but she won't, Adam, or she will be able to see me? No. Okay, Vanessa, so you won't be able to see me, but as long as you see yourself and you're in the square, you're good to go. And we are live. Let me give you a proper introduction as you're getting that set up. Ladies and gentlemen, so happy to have this next guest on the show. I was there in person to interview her after UFC 270, and she is amazing, coming on the scene with the most energy, flair, and charisma that I think we've seen in a long time. The woman they call the little monster, Vanessa Demopolis. Welcome to the show, Vanessa.
What's happening, everybody?
All good, all good. Now, you online go also by your full name of Crystal Vanessa, although it looks like you're leaving Crystal out for the fighting career. Or what do you want to be called? Or is Crystal totally gone? Or do you go by Crystal to some people?
No, yeah, Crystal, like, okay, so, like, my name is Vanessa, but, like, my first name is Crystal, so, like, but, like, it gets really confusing, so, like, people just call me Vanessa, and I accept.
I like that. Well, you are awesome, and that was just an amazing night, and my mind is so exhausted from running around. It was 270 or 270? It was 270 UFC, wasn't it?
It was 270. It was 270, yeah. We just had 271.
Right,
so.
Yep, that's what I thought, yep. And that was amazing, and that was over in Anaheim, California. Tell us where you're from, and have you ever spent much time in California, and how did you like it?
Yeah, so I mean, I lived here in LA for about 3 years, but I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm currently fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona. So I've like kind of been a little bit around. Yeah,
I like that.
A little bit.
Love the Midwest people. Both myself and my senior producer are Midwesterners. I'm from Michigan, and Adam is from Iowa, and then later Missouri. So love to hear, even though Ohio, we had a little bit of a sports rivalry, right, with Michigan and Ohio State, but Cleveland, I've always loved Cleveland, especially Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns have had a similar sort of a fate. You guys, at least once in a while, are on the verge of being really good. The Lions are never quite on the verge, but you know. And then look what we had here: Matthew Stafford, the man that I cheered for 10 years with the Lions, and he ends up being on the Rams. And I know some people that know him, and some people that are working some business deals with him, and they asked me to please cheer for him, and it was tough. I watched the game alone. For the most part, my girlfriend checked in on it a couple times, but I'm watching it and I'm feeling bittersweet feelings. And then finally, when it came down to the end, I said, okay, I'm going to pretend it's back when Matthew was on our team. And I started cheering. I started going, come on, Matthew. Come on, Matthew. Razzle dazzle him. Come on. And he it's like he heard me. And he just started marching down to win that final game. And it was cool. Like, for a brief minute, I was like super happy. And then I realized it wasn't with my team. But he's a good dude. He was there in Detroit. People liked him because he wasn't one of these like prima donna quarterbacks. He would go in there and he would get hit. He would get smashed. And he would get back up and say, hey, I'm here playing football. Don't cry for me. Let's go and jump in another play. So he was a rugged guy. I'm sure you could understand as a fighter. He was a guy that didn't mind getting hit, and he wouldn't always just slide like some quarterbacks. So he's a stud, and he won, and you know, it's cool. I still hope my Detroit Lions get there because I was cheering for that Rams for like 8 minutes just because of him in that game. And you know, now I'm back to my Lions. But Cleveland's tough. Were you always a Cleveland fan? Were you a fan of the Browns? Were you cheering for LeBron? What's your history with Cleveland sports?
I mean, it's my born right to be a Cleveland fan, you know. So I'm a diehard. Like, it is what it is. But it's like, okay, so like I really don't watch a lot of sports, you know, so it's not one of those. But it's like, if I'm a cheer, like I'm cheering for Cleveland. Yes. Like, let's go, you know?
Absolutely. I like that.
Yes.
We're loyal fans in the Midwest. No matter where we move, we've got our team, right?
Absolutely, man. Yes.
Absolutely.
And those teams have built Cleveland recently too, so it's been really, really awesome to see the come up.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about you. You came into UFC 270. You were amazing in the weigh-in. You not only did that incredible when you took off your sweatshirt, that hair flip was super awesome. Even the ring card girls, even the ring card girls were looking impressed when you did that. You know how they stand in the back. And then you did the splits, and you're all excited and all happy. And like I told you when I talked to you in the post-fight press conference, I said, man, I hope this girl wins as much as she's hyped up and fired up, you know. And I'm sure that you wanted to win, but I don't think you felt any more pressure. I think you were just like being yourself and having a lot of fun. Or did you feel pressure because of how charismatic and how energetic you were being and what a splash you were making? Did you feel like, oh crap, I better damn well win this?
No, I didn't feel pressure. And yeah, I was just totally being myself, you know? So that's like, I love the light, you know, like I love the spotlight, like give it to me, you know, like if you're shy, I got you, man. I'm here for that. But yeah, I didn't feel any added pressure. Like I felt like I belonged, you know, like, and I think I respect fighting enough that it's like, there's already enough pressure, like on the fight game. Like there's enough pressure, like you're in the UFC, everybody's really freaking talented. Everybody trains their ass off. We're all professionals here. Like, if anything, like, I was just as relaxed and as calm and as myself and as free as I could possibly be. And I think that's where a lot of that came from, was like, I didn't have any pressure. Like I got to just be me, you know?
Absolutely.
And it was so cool that the world was just like, yeah, go girl. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Because like, that was literally just me. Like,
that's awesome. Like you're so effervescent and bubbly and enthusiastic and, you know, perky and, you know, peppy and everything. And those are really good qualities. I remember when they were showing some clips that I saw on the internet where they were like maybe doing like some photo ops with you. It must have been after you won, I think, although I can't tell. And then you had the flag in your hands around your back. Was that before or after you won?
That was after. That was definitely after.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I'm just so excited.
It was great because you were so excited that you had the flag, and you were so excited it looks like you had wings that you were flapping with the flag. I said, this is amazing. This girl has got wings and she's flapping them. And I'm like, it was so cool. Well, yeah, it's
man. Like it felt like I just like I can't even explain like how freaking awesome it felt, because it's like, you know, like it's like the most exciting thing in the whole entire world. And I'm like, I felt like a child, you know, that like, man, like I got to do the coolest thing ever. And I don't know. I was just really excited. I'm still really excited. Yeah. And I feel like everybody feels like this, but like I wish I could like explode with how dope I like felt and still feel. You know, like if I could like physically explode, like that would probably do justice to the emotions.
That's,
you know?
I believe it. That's awesome. A great statement. Also, one of our fans who's a big boxing fan, we actually had a top 10 boxing contender on in our first segment. And so we have one of our boxers who's staying with us, watching, one of our boxing fans. And he's normally a little bit hard on MMA. He hasn't really made that crossover, but he's just made a couple of great comments about you. He said, finally a sexy woman in MMA. And then he also said she has too much charisma for MMA. So,
what would be the suggestion to take my charisma to? You know, like
I think, well, he loves boxing. He loves boxing, so I think he'd rather see you there. But Run DMG, thank you for the credit for Vanessa. We're glad you like her. She's amazing. She's going to stay in MMA. She appreciates you, and I think we're going to have people like her that will make MMA more exciting. And speaking of which, with all this energy and charisma that you have, were there some people that you looked up to that were kind of like you, either on the men's side or the women's side of MMA?
Man, so I've gotten to have so many amazing moments in my career before that fight and after that fight. And I always really like looked up to Dustin Poirier.
Nice.
And I like got to meet him because he came to Arizona to do the Bellator fights, right? And I just like walked up to him and I was like, hey, what's up? How are you? Like, I fought over the weekend in UFC, and he was like, oh yeah? And obviously you have to realize, like, I had like all of my makeup on. Like, I definitely had my stripper makeup on,
right?
Like, for sure.
Right.
And he was like, oh, really? He's like, I watched that card. I was like, yeah, that crazy girl that jumped into Joe Rogan's arms,
Yes.
like, that was me. And, you know, he just gave me so much acknowledgement. And he was like, hey, like, I read a few articles on you. And, like, that was just so fucking cool to me, you know, that it's like, I looked up to him for so many reasons. Like, I think that he's just such a skilled fighter.
Yes.
And, you know, like, all of the things that he's accomplished and the way that he's done it, like, he's a very charismatic guy as well, like, all his charities and stuff.
Definitely.
So, like, that was really fucking cool, man, to, like, get that praise from someone who I thought would have no idea who I was. And, like, he knew exactly who I was. And, like, that was so cool, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, dude. And I feel like I've known Anderson Silva for a long time. And, like, just a lot of different people in the fight game, you know, and, like, they've all been watching me rise. So, like, to be able to have that moment and, like, just, like, be able to celebrate it with, I know people that were celebrating for me behind the scenes, like, man, that's so cool.
Absolutely. No, it looks like you really appreciated it and had fun. One of the things our guy said, the boxing fan, is he could actually see you killing it in WWE. And, you know, I know that, like, Ronda Rousey went there. Some of her friends went there. Shayna Baszler, some of the couple of the other girls. Is that something that could be viable, like, after an MMA career for you? I know that Ronda was like smaller than a lot of those girls in WWE, so you would be really smaller, but then you're a real fighter, so you'd have that going for you, right? Could you see something like that, like 10 years from now or something, or whenever, 8 years, 4 years, 5, you know, whenever you feel your UFC career is done? Could you have fun doing that, you think?
Small confession, I was actually going out for the WWE not too long ago, actually. I believe back in like 2016. I was training, I was getting ready for the auditions, and, like, I mean, all of the gymnastics, I was, like, never in better shape than when I was training for that. And I've taken acting classes, modeling classes, like, I've done all the things. And but they were looking for smaller females, and I was like, yeah,
that's
like,
you.
Let's go. And that's me, sign me up. And then they ended up, like, not needing smaller females any longer, and I don't know what that reason was, but I'm so grateful because obviously, like, I love MMA so much, and I'm so grateful to be here in the UFC right now, but I would totally be in the WWE. Like, absolutely. Like, that looks like so much fun to me, you know?
Very true, very true. And it's definitely got its risk as well, but you're an athlete and you're down for it, and that could be cool maybe sometime in the future. So let's talk about you. So you have such a unique story, and you've told it a few times. You've been grinding for many years, and that, I think, is a reality, especially like for women's MMA. There are just not as many opportunities even still as there are for men. And so you put in your time, and then to make ends meet, you were dancing, you know, it's like you say, you got your pole dancing, your stripper guard and everything, and you were making money doing that. And that's really a unique story, because not to try to beat a dead horse, but I think for people that don't know, it's unique, and I don't think you mind talking about it. A lot of times you hear that girls will dance, it will be a means to an end. They're going to be a teacher, they're going to be a doctor, they're going to be, you know, an engineer, they're going to be, you know, whatever, a fighter is a new one. But oftentimes you, like, hear about these things, but then you end up hearing that instead all of their money went into drugs. They did drugs all day, every day, until their career was over, and then they're out on the street. These sad stories. Do you find that were there other people that had a positive story like yours that were really working towards something and saving their money and exercising and making their body healthy and being able to funnel that into their dreams? Or were you kind of an anomaly there? At least in your...
I mean, I'm an anomaly in any single arena that you put me in, period.
Yeah.
You know, I made it to the UFC, one of maybe 400 people in the entire world.
Right.
So... I am an elitist in every single area of my life that I choose to embark on, which is why I don't do a lot of things, because I kind of am a little extreme.
Right.
But you know, to answer your question, yeah, there was a few girls who I had met along the way who really did actually save their money. They took care of themselves. They reinvested their money into themselves, you know, and they did something good with their lives and they got out of the industry. But that is so far and few between. Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, like most girls do end up to be everything that you said. And yeah, it's not the best case scenario. You know, like they end up having so much fun and you make so much money so fast and you literally get paid to party.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to put that lifestyle down. And I think for me, like I grew up in the industry. So my dad had like taught me how to hustle and really made sure that I had good values on the front end of my career. So like I was a sober stripper. Like I didn't drink alcohol. Like I still don't like drink. Like even when I'm celebrating, like I'm just crazy enough without it, you know? So like there's no need to for me. But I always had like fighting my priority, you know, and I didn't dance as much as I even wanted to. Like I wanted to be rolling in the cash, you know, and I made so much money that it was like, and I was so freaking tired all the time because training is not easy. And so like I'd work when I needed something to keep training. Like if you want to talk about, and any person who has like reconnected with me since I fought, like they keep digging into me the same thing where it's like, I was literally willing to do whatever it took, like whatever it took, like I would make the hardest decisions as long as fighting came first for me, you know? So yeah, dancing for me, I was like, I loved it. I was amazing at it. I'm still amazing at it. And I made so much money, but I definitely like prioritize investing in myself, whether that be my look, but mainly like my athletics, 100%.
Absolutely. And you know, it's interesting because with the fact that you can't really have your hair flowing in MMA, you girls all have your hair just like tied back really tight. And it's funny because you see, you know, a girl tied back, hair tied back really tight, no makeup at all. And you guys still are young and you look good, but then it's amazing when you see just with your hair and a little bit of makeup how beautiful a lot of you girls are. And you know, it is really a stark contrast. Have you ever noticed that? Like, what is there a state of mind? It's got to be a little bit interesting that a girl realizes I'm going to go in there with hair tied back, no makeup. Some people aren't even going to recognize me, but I guess it's fighting. So you kind of almost, you get in that state of mind that this is kind of like the real face of being a warrior. And who gives a shit if anyone's thinking I'm looking sexy, or are you glad when you can meet some people and, you know, actually look like you normally look like right now?
You know, it's a very interesting question because it's only a girl's dynamic. Guys don't worry about that shit. Right. You know, they're not walking around with makeup on a daily basis. No. And then like, oh God, someone's going to see me without my makeup on.
Right.
Like, that's totally not a guy problem at all, you know? And yeah, like I said, like even like when I met Dustin Poirier, like I look so dramatically different when I have all of my makeup on. Right. And like right now, like this is like a super light look for me where I'm wearing next to nothing. But man, like we transform, dude. Like we are shapeshifters for real. Like when it comes to us females and our makeup, you know, like, yeah, like look at the champ, you know, like Juliana, like she's freaking beautiful. Yes. And yeah, but it's definitely different when you walk in the ring, like no makeup, hair tied back, you know, like, and it's just raw, man. It's just freaking raw. It's primal. It's organic. Like there is no more basic human, like right principle. Like that is our, like we thrive to survive, you know? So like putting us in there and putting us in a position of danger, like, that's it, man. Like, and the world gets to watch us really going through those animalistic instincts. Like, it's fucking crazy, bro. Like, and it doesn't matter what you look like in there, dude. My face gets tore up usually when I fight. It's, I've been working on it, but it's like, that's a part of the game, man. Like, man, like we sign up to do something that so many people, including fighters, will never really accomplish truly. You know, to be in the type of wars that I've been in where my face is literally mangled, like most people would quit long before that happens. And especially someone who makes money off of what they look like, you know, like.
And you are done, it looks like, officially a while back with the dancing, the stripping, right? So there isn't any more concern about getting your face scuffed up and looking good dancing. But back when you were grinding, that must have been kind of a real issue, right? Were there times where you got a little bit cut up or chapped up and put a little extra makeup on for dance, or did that never really happen?
Man, let me tell you what an expert I am at doing makeup around black eyes and stitches. Okay,
Nice,
like,
nice. I can imagine.
I'm literally the best at it. Like, absolutely. Like, I mean, like, there's like a Hollywood, and then there's like Little Monster down here. Like,
Nice. Nice. You definitely knew what to do after a lot of experience, huh?
For sure, for sure.
How far now? The dancing is what, a year in your rear view mirror, or 2 years in your rear view mirror?
Oh, no. I just quit dancing right before, during the Spike camp.
Wow. Yep. So like what, 5 months? 5 months or something like that. 4.
No. We're talking like, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's been about a month since I fought, and I quit dancing like about a little bit over a month before I fought.
Nice.
So yeah, we're talking like 2 months. 2 months in my rear view.
Gotcha. So you got one of the fight of the night bonuses, which was so awesome. I mean, in all honesty, as happy as you were, as sweet and cute and perky and effervescent as you were, when I heard the bonus and I saw your name there, I was like, fuck yeah. I just was like, because I don't know you that well. We're not like long-term buddies, but you just seem so sweet. And you did surprise me by giving me a hug in the post-fight press conference. I got to tell you, that was so cool. Thank you. That was so cool. But so I said to myself, man, I just hope that awesome little chick gets a big bonus, and you did. And I was just thinking, man, when you heard you got that, did you like jump up in the air, or what did you do?
Oh man, I fucking collapsed crying, bro.
I bet.
Oh my gosh, my manager Jason House called me, dude, and like as soon as he called me, bro, because like, dude, I wrote it everywhere, man. Like, I really, really wanted that, but then I saw how amazing all the fighters were on that card, and I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, dude, what a cool card, but fuck.
Yeah.
So, and I even texted Jason too, like beforehand. I was like, bro, do you think we got it? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, there's a lot of good stuff happening. Dude, when he called me, man, I just answered the phone and I just hit the ground and I just started sobbing.
Nice.
Like,
yeah,
that is life changing right there.
Yeah.
That is life changing right there. So,
because all that hard work, but a lot of people don't know that when you're getting your first your first UFC fight, they're not usually dropping the cash on you like when you're a champion. So that, you had some greenbacks coming in, but to have that bonus, like all of a sudden, like, various little worries that you probably had to have about, okay, when I pay this out, I got a little bit of green left for like a month maybe, or 2 months. And all of a sudden it's like, no, I think we're probably good for several months, if not longer than that. And so that must have been an awesome feeling, and that's cool that you really appreciated that. And it's kind of like you good karma'd through your way through UFC 270. Having been in traditional martial arts as I was before, training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai myself, I remember in Chinese style it was your chi. In Japanese style, it was your ki. In Hawaii, they would call it mana. And you were like focusing it so powerfully forward. Your chi and your ki and your mana, and you were just like putting it so forward in such a positive, strong way that like literally it's like it just attracted all this good stuff to you. And there's something to that. I'm sure you know that too. And it's not that easy because it takes a truckload of energy. But like, yeah, what you pulled out of yourself, it was like such an example of belief and excitement and conquering fear, because in reality everyone's probably a little bit afraid of going in there and having your face smashed in and knocked unconscious and and everything like that. But like it just seems like you plugged in to everything positive. I mean, is that like can you do that every fight? I mean, can you, you know, I imagine you can, but have you always done that? Were you even able to do that in these smaller promotions when you're fighting for $1,000 or $500 or whatever? Or was this especially easier since you were fighting in the UFC?
I have always given respect to the chi, you know, the mantras, mental strength, mental fortitude. And I think that's why I've been able to fight in the manner that I fight. Like, there is literally zero freaking quit in me. There is zero quit in me. And that exists in every single arena that I walk into. That's why I can be such a diversified person. You know, like, I'm an author, I'm a dancer, I'm a fighter, I'm a really awesome friend, you know, and like, I don't define myself by the things that I accomplish more so than who I am as a person. And I think that is so freaking powerful to be mentally strong, mentally aware, mentally developed, you know, and emotionally rock solid as well, you know, and it hadn't always been that way, which was why I became stronger, you know, like through the times. But man, I give the same damn effort if I'm getting paid $50 as I do if I'm getting paid $50,000.
Right.
And that is exactly why one day I will be getting paid the millions.
Yes.
Because I do it out of love. I do it out of passion. I do it out of my heart. And I do it like as if it's the only thing that matters to me in the whole world. Because in that moment when I'm doing that task, it truly is.
Yeah. I love that. Really, really well stated. And you put in the time and the effort, and you know, you're definitely on a great course. And how are you feeling physically? I know frequently they'll say a month without contact or 2 months without contact. Is there a time period that you're still not allowed to train yet, even though you won, or are you able to train now? And what's the prospects as far as your next fight?
I'm allowed to train, but I'm not allowed to have all the fun. So yeah, they're definitely being extra careful with me because obviously, like, I take this very seriously. So I want to make sure that I'm doing all the right things. So yes, I'm training, but I'm not, like, definitely not having contact or anything just yet.
That makes sense. Do you think that, and let's look at this in a positive light, because I know you're going to do amazingly well, and you're already off to a good start, and already having the bonus, a 50 grand bonus helps you. Do you think that even while doing well, and if you won like your next 3 fights in a row, or let's just say everything keeps going well, do you ever feel you would have a desire to just go dance one more time? Do you think that would ever happen? And if you did, would you try to like parlay the UFC fighter to make it like this huge feature thing, or would that maybe be problematic with the UFC? Or I hope you don't mind me asking, but I'm just curious, you know, what your thought is.
Great question. Honestly, and like I literally said this, you cannot keep me off of a pole.
Nice.
Like, you can't. I'm putting a pole up in my living room.
Love
like
it.
That's happening.
Love that.
I love dancing, just like I love fighting. But the difference is obviously the being a stripper part, I think, is what you're asking. And no, I have no desire to go back in any sort of fashion. I think, like, let's just say worst case scenario, like something happened, I couldn't fight anymore, I really needed money. I'm not going to go back to being a stripper. Like, there's so many other ways to like obtain that. And if anything, it would be something that I would do for fun or to show girls, you know, and to just be a light in a dark place for them, to show them like it doesn't matter where you currently are. Of course, you can create greatness. And that's exactly why I wrote my books, was to help these girls in the industry.
Yes.
So
tell us about that.
You know, I wrote them to do that and to help dig them out of the same place that I know like doesn't have a lot of helping hands in there. So I would definitely be a helping hand, but I don't see myself feature entertaining. That could have been an option for me. I'm so good at dancing. I could have been traveling the country doing that already.
Right.
And I chose a different path.
Absolutely. And I respect that. And now let me get on and get off the dancing and stripping. And I appreciate you being so forthcoming and like that. And a lot of people are encouraging. In fact, the boxing wrestling guy here, who's not a big MMA fan, wanted to congratulate you from being a dancer all the way to making it to the UFC. That does rock, yeah. So let's get on to some of your other accomplishments. Being an author, you did write a book, and I remember one of the questions I asked you is the book does have something to do with helping girls that are in that line of work that maybe don't have an end game. Now, we've only got about 5 minutes left with you, about 3 minutes actually. So give us about a minute of what the book is about and where we can get it.
So you can get it on Google. It's called Stripper Bible. Kind of hard to forget, but it's a how to hustle and keep your morals and values intact. The most important principle for me was to be able to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day, after I got home from work and after I was done dancing, and just like seeing myself genuinely. And I think a lot of girls have problems with that. So, you know, I literally wrote that book to help them see you can make hella money and you never have to compromise your values.
Love that. Love that. And again, it's called Stripper Bible.
Stripper Bible.
Love
by
it.
Crystal Vanessa Demopolis.
And is it on your website, or where can people get that?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
So, yes.
Sounds good. That's awesome. And we know you're with Iridium, with Ed and Jason. Big shout out to them. And what team do you train out of? And anyone you want to shout out, coaches or training partners that helped you look as good as you did at 270?
The best championship team in the whole country. Fight Ready.
Nice.
With Santino DeFranco. And I'm also out of Siege MMA. And we have Eddie Chow over there. We have Angel Cejudo over there. You know, like, we got all the champ coaches. And that's why all the champions are flying in from all around the world just to train at our gym. So it's really awesome.
Absolutely. Fight Ready in Arizona. You're over there and you're doing amazing. Heal up, and I can't wait to hear about your next fight, and love talking to you. I want to throw this out. If you want to come on, I know you're going to be forced to do media anyway, but if I can't be at the event where you're fighting next, if you want to come on a Tuesday night, let me know. And I know you're going to be so busy, so I will be jumping on you to check you out to see if you want to come on either before or after your next fight. We'd love to talk to you again and support you.
100%. I would love to be on. I'm so sorry, dude, but thank you for being consistent and keeping up with this, because this is dope. Thank you.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. She's referring to the fact we couldn't get her a week or so ago, but yeah, so happy to have you now, and I'm glad you had a great time. Vanessa, Lil Monster Demopolis, you rock. Huge fan. Keep up the great work. You are awesome.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Later, homies.
Take care. See ya. Peace. How cool and charismatic is that girl? Dr. Adam Roorda. Can you beat that? You can't beat that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're having our episode info is not supposed to be popping up.
Yeah, Pulsar Lights has a question there. Well, it's not going to end up being her. She won't be one that end up over there at Denny's at 40.
Right.
You never know. I mean, Pulsar, you bring up a good point, but you know, you never know where someone's going to end up. It is an anomaly. She admitted it's an anomaly, but you know what? Bottom line is, if someone can do something and keep their focus on other stuff, you know, then they can make great things happen. And I think she's destined to be a star. She's got a really good chin. She's quick. Her submissions are good. She's tenacious, and that positive energy is effective. What a little cutie.
Absolutely.
Good looking girl. She's marketable as hell. She can speak really well. She's an author. You know,
yeah, absolutely. Well, another great episode with you, Colin. I know we're doing it from the home studio of Mr. Adam, Dr. Adam Roorda's home. We are doing it here from my own location here in the Los Angeles area. And you know what? We'll probably have a few more here, have some fun pushing forward. We do have a new studio here getting set up out of a cannabis studio, actually. Yes. And I say cannabis studio, it is a cannabis company. It is called Hello. So we will be bringing you from Hello Studios, MMA Power Hour here in the near future, just getting built out, and great partnership going there. So make sure to stay tuned here on Hannibal TV and at MMA Power Hour on our social media. Follow us all over on social media. It's just at MMA Power Hour. Also hit up Lith Token by going to lithtoken.io. Check out the link over there and all the links, and it tells you how to buy if you're interested in adopting and getting into physical NFTs. We will be doing an amazing giveaway here soon in April, so stay tuned. Every week I'll give you a little bit more of a hint, and we will let you know what's coming out with a raffle. It's not a pure giveaway, but it is a raffle, and it's huge. I'm going to tell you that. I'm just going to say Everybody asks when Lambo.
There we go.
Hint number one.
When Lambo. I love it.
Right.
When am I going to get my Lambo? But that might not be the question. But
Well, it may or may not be. I don't know.
Hey, that might be all right.
I'm just
But
dropping hints over here.
I
But
like it.
you know what? You know what else, Colin?
Huh.
We have an amazing show here. I want to say thank you so much for all the guests that you brought on, interviewed, and as always,
My pleasure.
thank you.
Great working with you, Dr.
Everybody have a good one. I'm going to hand it over to Colin, and I'm going to go ahead and tap out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adam Roorda, for all that you do. Appreciate it. Doctor lives close to me for the first time in all the years I've known him. He finally lives a little further than down the street instead of me dragging my old ass over to freaking Hollywood through the traffic. So thank you so much, at least for the time being, that we're in the studio here in your house. Ladies and gentlemen, in order of appearance, want to thank our guests so much. Top 10 welterweight boxer Cody Crowley, thank you so much. Matthew, the King Granahan, King in Connecticut, thank you so much. And UFC strawweight, women's strawweight contender, Vanessa Little Monster Demopolis, thank you so much. All you guys are awesome. Cody, the Warrior of Light now. No more Crippler, Warrior of Light. Go ahead and let everyone know you got their back. Call people that you haven't had time to call for a while. Shoot them a text. You let people know that even though you haven't been able to be there, you still love them. They're in your heart. They're thinking about you. Parents, kids, coworkers, next door neighbors, spread the love in a positive way. Even treat yourself more kind and gentle. And basically, Doctor, you wanted me to look at a question? What was Peter, Pulsar Lights, this was Crystal Vanessa Little Monster Demopolis. Mostly she goes by Vanessa Demopolis, and she's awesome. So that's the last question. Thank you for pointing that out. We want to be interactive with you guys. We will ask questions of fighters. We do need you to try to throw in a tip, though, next time, just a few dollars or whatever you can, if you want to have us ask a live question of a live guest. But we really appreciate you. And Pulsar Lights, I'll repeat it once more because you didn't get her name. Vanessa Demopolis. I think it's Demopolous. All right. Anyway, that's about it. Take good care of your pets and take your dog for a walk. Make sure your cat's litter box is clean. The love you will get back is unconditional. That's it. Big love to all of you for the entire team of the MMA Power Hour with Colin Crandall, and I am tapping out.